Your community, you're participating in that community, and whatever that community decides, you are participating in if you are complacent and do nothing in order to bring about education and awareness and create a positive change. Building community groups is a positive action that you can take in whatever you feel you're able to do. You know, a very good friend of mine has a project called the Karma Experiment, and she also has one called Pay It Forward. It's a wonderful concept, which is about paying it forward, being good to each other and being kind to each other. And really, Agape, the reason why this time is so critical is because of the amount of people that are on the planet. If we do not change this, quote, system that we are in, there is no path except death and destruction for all of humanity and life on Earth. And we need to pay attention, because these things, and I'm not interested in, I personally am not interested in the conspiracy theorist end of things.
Yeah.
I am more interested in what are you doing in your community to go and clean up the rivers and lakes and shores and bring in recycling and stop using as many material products that you normally would see in a very greed-filled and materialistic person's home. What are you doing in whatever way you feel you can to facilitate in a positive way change? And that is the message of these extraterrestrials from another dimension, from another time, from another world, from another reality. If these beings came to me and said, if you don't stop this, this is where you're going, I'm listening. I'm paying attention because I'm seeing it become a reality. And that's what makes it different. That's what makes it different for today. That everyone is understanding that they're being able to actually feel the difference. And that's what makes this time different. If you put a date on something, if you put an exact date on something, it doesn't do anyone any good. There is always hope that we are going to avoid events because we have a choice. Until we get there, those premonitions, those prophecies, those dreams and visions are a choice for humanity and for the individual. It's a warning. It is a warning. It does not mean it's going to happen.
Yes, I definitely agree with that, that it is a sign for us to really wake up and start to do something. I think that the big change we're talking about is that we actually stop talking about it and start doing it. I mean, physically start doing it, because there's so many people saying, we're change, we're one, but we don't see that manifested in the world. And the only reason why it's not manifested is because we're not doing anything about it. So I definitely agree with that. So Miriam, what do you see the importance of the indigenous people in all of this? You know, what is the importance of the indigenous tribes in this?
Well, you know, it kind of ties into a comment about what you just said. You know, we have to go through phases of learning, expanding, and understanding, and accepting, actually. We have to go through these different phases of doing this. We've been in that phase as a whole, I believe, on the earth, of learning who we are. Hold on, just wait one moment, please.
Sure.
Just have to fix my headset. Thank you. Sorry about that. What we need to do is we need to bring about this action. And what has happened up to this point, until I believe even the last year, is that there's been an education process that's been going on of enlightenment, of more connectedness, of more recognition of what's happening around us in the world, and being more aware in whatever way, whether it's spiritual or just the physical world. And now we're going to be moving into another phase very, very quickly here, and we have been over the course of the last 4 or 5 months. we do need to move into the phase of action. And let's get into that and what that means and how it ties into the indigenous world. I believe, because of the contact that I had with these ETs, I believe that because of the contacts with the extraterrestrials, they told me that these people, meaning the first people of Earth, the indigenous, the red race, but they're not all red. That's the thing. All of these original people had some of the knowledge that could and would be able to assist humanity in walking through this time. Now, this is what extraterrestrials told me at the age of 20 years old, and I was like, are you kidding me? You know, I don't want to hear that. I understood it perfectly at that time, believe me, absolutely, but I did not want to accept it.
Sure. After
many, many years, and I have never ever studied any group out there, any tribe, never. Don't feel that I need to, because their traditions and their ceremonies are sacred, and that's for them. I have my own sacred routines that I have. I have my own way of bringing about a connection to Creator. It does not have to be their way. And so these people do play a key role, because if you look again and you research this, you will find that almost all of the indigenous tribes, all of them, almost all of them, have been standing in defiance of destructive behavior or harmful behavior towards our Earth. And that they have stood in protection of the land at all cost. So they do have a very unique way of viewing what we, as I would call outsiders to their world, and our destructive, childish behavior. And it is childish.
Yeah.
And they have guidance. They have words that can facilitate a change, and they can facilitate encouragement, and they can facilitate hope, and they can facilitate a moving towards something that is positive for mankind. And this is critical, because do we want to go, if you want to ask someone, how do we get through this? How do we walk through this as one people? If you were to ask that question to anyone, who would you choose to ask? Would you choose to ask Mr. Corporate? And say, yeah, you're the one with the money, so let's go to this guy over here and ask him. Or were you going to go and ask someone that actually cares? And I say, let's go to the people that actually care, and that have been humble, and that have been peaceful, and that have been pushed around more than any other group on the earth. So let's go to them and start asking them with respect. Respect that they're not going to tell us about their secret ceremonies. They're not going to, and we don't need to know. But whatever they choose to share, pay attention. Pay very close attention to every word that they whisper, because they will not be aggressive like the rest of the world. They will not scream at you. They will share with you, but they will not scream at you. And that makes their words of wisdom valuable to all of us, because they have managed to be able to still maintain those beliefs and maintain that part of that way of life of living in balance. And this is why they're important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I very much agree that one thing I believe we, as you said, as outsiders to the indigenous cultures, have to relearn is being humble, because we have so much, lost the meaning of that word, and actually of being humble. What it actually means. And I'm so happy you actually brought that point up. So Miriam, tell me, what is it that you are doing to bring about that change that we're talking about? What are you doing?
Well, what I'm attempting to do is very slowly making connections with different indigenous people around the world. And, to be very clear, I don't have a list as long as my arm, because I'm really trying to make connections with the right people. And what I mean by the right people is that I could very easily, within 2 minutes, I could go online and I could find people from almost any tribe on earth. And that's great. But I'm not going to say that I can make contact with that tribe, because a true traditional person is a lot more difficult to find.
Yeah.
And they're very quiet, and there's reasons for that, and I respect that. And I believe that they are waiting to see if humanity, meaning the materialistic side of humanity, is going to begin to act. And then maybe we'll come forward. We need to start this process of coming together. And for what purpose? The purpose of, I can talk and I can say this word, it's all about unity, it's about coming together, it's about moving in our heart, it's about coming together as a collective, it's about creating change. Okay, the real question, as you asked, is what am I doing to create that? Well, here's what I am personally doing. I am very respectfully attempting to make contact with different groups around the planet. I have not been aggressive in doing this. I believe that aggression is not going to facilitate the contact with the right people. I am happy to say that I have a website called thegreatgathering.org. Unfortunately, that website has been live on the internet for, I think, 8 months. And it was never intended to stay in this static state that it's in for this long. However, everything is in divine timing. So right now I'm working on building the greatgathering.org website. Not what you see up at this exact moment. When it's done, believe me, you'll know. It's going to be like 25, 30, 40, 50 pages long. And the purpose of this particular website is to connect people from around the world, to organize events around the world, to facilitate and bring about rapid change. How this will happen is actually simple. An event for the Great Gathering cannot and will not be, here's the location, you have to pay $250 to go, you get in the door, and then you're a select person to participate. This is not at all what I'm talking about. And it's difficult to get into the details without having the site. But what we want to inspire, I guess is the right word, is that only you know your area. Only you understand the issues that are in your particular location. Only you know how to contact people through different magazines and newspapers and schools and universities, colleges, corporations, businesses in your area in order to facilitate